Welcome, welcome. In the last episode I looted jelly from the bee queen and 120 frog legs. Naturally, I start this episode off by cooking. The jelly will be converted into jelly beans that heal for 122 health over 2 minutes. And all the frog legs will go into making bacon and eggs. Unfortunately, frog legs can only be used for 3/4 of the recipe, and the rest has to be big meat or monster meat, so I can't convert everything just yet. To make some more, I farmed some Volt Ghosts during the nighttime that drop 2 big meat each, and I got 2 horns as well. The horns will be very useful right now actually, since we will immediately go after Crab King. Crab King is regarded by the majority of the community as being the most annoying boss in the game, and the weather panes will be very useful to counter his healing move. They are also very expensive in terms of costing goose feathers, meaning I want to use the construction amulet to make them. To summon Crab King, I need the pearl that I started working for in the last episode, by doing the hermit tasks. Let's prepare for the last of them, and while I'm at it, I will also chop a bunch of wood to be able to repair my boat, since Crab King is fought out on the ocean. Lastly, I also want to pick a ton of grass to craft ice staves for the fight. For the second time, but now on a proper boat, I now arrive on your island, Pearl. Task number 4 is planting 10 flowers for her bees, by sticking live butterflies in the ground. Task 5 is just to clear the local lure plant infestation, and by sending a bee to the other side of the universe, I force it to rain, which will be important soon. We can also finish fertilizing the berry bushes for task numero 6. Finishing up the house repairs accounts for tasks 7, 8 and 9. Lastly, I pick some flowers and turn them into a pretty parasol to shield Pearl from the rain that I just caused. That is all the tasks done, and I didn't even need to fish or dig any underwater salvageables. Here I made a slight mistake. I'm leaving without digging up the berry bushes. Why is this bad, you may wonder? Well, it limits the amount of endgame loot I will be able to obtain, funnily enough. This is because a certain mob can only spawn where I've planted stuff, and there will only be a limited amount of this mob spawning. I will show you what I mean in the next episode when this actually affects us. Now we immediately want to row all the way to the lunar island by following the astral detector's directions. I really want to be careful here not to hit any of the sea stacks to preserve my boat patches. We need all we can get for the Crab King fight. Land ho! We're coming up on the rocky shores of the moon, Chester. I will just bring my boat around to scout a bit. Aha! That's an altar piece. Let's hop on to land. We want to carry all the altar pieces to a triangle of celestial fissures in the ground and socket them there. It will become obvious why this needs to be a triangle in just a minute, when I have all the altars socketed. This is when I want to be Wolfgang. Who cares about his damage anyways, when he doesn't need to crawl to carry heavy objects? Finally. It took a while, but that's the first 5 altar pieces socketed. Let's follow the astral detector to the 6th and final piece. How rude of the puppies to ambush us right as we leave, isn't that right, Chester? I tried to leave them in the dust, but it turns out that the ocean simply doesn't have any dust to leave them in. Anyway, we seem to have found Crab King already. That is incredibly awesome. Let's prepare and get rid of this Wavy Jones. Are you kidding me? There's a stupid shark right here to mess up the fight? Glorious, I wonder what could possibly go wrong. To start the fight, we simply need to socket 8 gems, that better be purple at least in this run, into his shell. Chester, you better write me a testament with my name on it before you die to these sharks. If any of you watched the raw footage part 4, you know that he wouldn't. Then, the fight starts when the pearl is finally socketed. Let's go! How did that go so well? I mean, the shark trolled me, but I could have lost access to Chester's items for 2 days. I could have died. There could have been 2 sharks.
Hello, motherfucker.
Oh, for Chester's sake. Do you guys mind? Whoa, he just jumped all over the place. I just want to dig up the altarpiece. Stupid living sushi. Let's get out of here, Chester, before you suffer a tragic death. Like anyone who's lost a limb in a shark encounter could tell you, just restore it with jelly beans. We are back at the lunar island not long after, altar in hands. Let's observe what happens when I socket it. And that is why they need to be in a triangle. By doing that, we have now activated the so-called Moonstorm event on the mainland, so let's get back there. During this event, every single night will be a full moon. I will make use of that fact and go perform the Moonstone event again. I need another Mooncaller staff for summer. The Mooncaller staff summons cold polar lights as opposed to the Starcaller staff's hot dwarf stars. This is why the setup is so good, since it's infinitely reusable. I don't really need it anymore, however, but I will need the fossils for other matters eventually, so I will bring them back to base. But first, let's start doing the Moonstorm events. Navigating the Moonstorms is very slow and annoying. So first, we need to find Wagstaff's transmission somewhere in here. He gives us 2 blueprints, one for something called the Incomplete Experiment, and one for the Astrogals. The Astrogals are crafted from a potato that I bundled earlier, and the Moonglass shards that we grabbed from Pearl's Island, and they let us actually traverse the Moonstorms. After following Wagstaff, he starts working on some weird gadget. While he's working, it is my job to do a whopping 4 other things at the same time. I need to defend him from the evil birds, I need to give him the tools that he needs, and I need to gather all the moon gleams and the infused moonglass I can. During the event, Wagstaff will call out the tools. Problem is that the tools aren't labeled correctly, so you'll need to figure out and remember which tool is which. The first event ended up being very easy, since Wagstaff was right next to a river that the birds thankfully can't cross. After the event is done, we are rewarded with the first of 3 restrained statics we need to complete the experiment. If you're playing Wigfrid on the latest update, you probably want to grab 4, so you can supercharge your new Elding Spear. But this was recorded October-November, so big sad for me. The next 2 events ended up being in really bad spots, so I failed one of them, meaning I had to do a 4th one anyway. The last one was annoyingly as far away as it probably could have been, so I lost some time here. After about 2.5 days, all of them are completed and it's now summer. This is really important since that means that Antlion has spawned, and believe it or not, we really want one of her drops. That was pretty easy, but now I shall prepare for a harder boss. The final boss, the impending Celestial Champion. I have a pretty interesting tactic for this boss that uses the lazy deserter that we just got from Antlion. This structure is made for multiplayer groups and lets them teleport to each other, and at first glance it might seem useless for a solo boss fight with the final boss. But whenever you touch the structure, however, it lowers your sanity or enlightenment by 15 points, and you can touch it repeatedly and infinitely. I can therefore use it to get rid of the annoying enlightenment during the fight. Even though we're fighting the final boss, you don't really need much more than the deserter, some dark swords, a handbat, some armor, and a mag. Huh, that sounded like a lot more stuff than it felt like. I did also prepare a weather pane that almost got destroyed by meteors. Make sure you don't leave stuff on the ground. Anyway, let's go! Oh my god, I was one shot during that last part. Don't you just love taking unarmored hits? Also, do you remember that thing I said in the first part about not being allowed to eat healing foods? Yeah, this was the time I thought I broke that rule, when I ate 20 HP worth of bacon and eggs, and then dropped to less than 20 HP. Turns out that I spent enough time on full health for that 20 HP to not matter at all. This means that the rule of not being allowed to eat healing foods during boss fights is back on the table as an actual rule. I'm now going to do something very odd that might seem like the dumbest thing I could possibly do in a boss rush, but a thing that will instead save me a lot of time and pain. That thing starts with me collecting loon tree blossoms. Yes, flowers. Why in a million years would I need flowers? Because with them, I can craft another weird item. Bath bombs. And why would I need them? Well, to heat up the hot springs around the place, of course. When I do this, the salamanders walking around will literally go and ripen themselves. This, in turn, causes their drops to change from leafy meat to a single dragon fruit. In this form, the salamanders are both tanky and have a fire attack. So, why would I go through the trouble and time to fight 8 salamanders that almost killed me? I can't even eat the dragon fruit, since Wigfrid can't eat anything that isn't meat or jelly beans anyway. What could I possibly need the dragon fruit for? I'm gonna make you wait until the next episode comes out to show you that one. On a happier note, let's jump into another boss fight, shall we? I've purposefully sailed back and forth to this Malbatross spawner to not have to fish anything to spawn her, and now she finally spawned. How awesome. Bah, these stupid fish ate my meat. I don't even know why I picked up all the feathers here since I didn't even use them. I guess it just felt wrong leaving them here. It's awesome to have already defeated the Malbatross, however. I basically cleared all the ocean in a single episode. Let's not waste any more time than what I did picking grass and twigs and forgetting to bring my moggles, and head back into the ruins during summer. It is funny that I played DST for 1,000 hours and I've never had wildfires burn my base. Anyway, by holding the Thulsite medallion during the last trip, I caught a glimpse of where our next victim is hiding, this being the Ancient Guardian. In other words, I know he's in the same sacred branch we were in at the start of the run. It turns out Pasmi was also a genius and left 16 cut grass for me here to craft bundles with. Behind the sacred biome lies the labyrinth. This area features dangling spiders that appear if you step on their webs, the occasional clockwork, and some chests with nice loot. Hey look, a green gem. What we are here for though lies at the very back. the Ancient Guardian Arena. With the moggles and the map, it doesn't take long to find it. But first, look at how satisfying this rook kill was. And while we watch, I want to mention the Enlightened Crown. While you wear it and have high sanity, you deal a lot of extra damage due to the gestals that appear, but you lose 1 sanity every hit. With a cadenza song that gives me 1 sanity every hit, I can benefit from this forever. With the power of the crown, the Ancient Guardian melts like butter. Now there are depth worms coming, but what do we get? Oh, it might seem good, but there is no Thule sight in here. I will have to use the green gems to duplicate that. That will have to wait for the next episode, however, since that is all I've got for you in this one. Like if you also get trolled by sharks regularly, and dislike using my public dislike button in the comments. Until the next part, enjoy life!